Alright, thanks for checking out part 4 of the Kingdom Hearts retrospective. This is the last one, we're in the home stretch, continuing off where we left in Kingdom Hearts 2. So Sora, Donald, Goofy, and Jiminy get to Yen Sid's tower and run into Pete. Having been banished from Mickey's worlds for being a troublemaker, Pete's basically become Maleficent's lackey, and has been using the Heartless to attack worlds on her orders. But he doesn't know yet that Maleficent was killed, so when he finds out, he heads back to Hollow Bastion to check for himself. Yen Sid tells Sora that apparently, even after locking all the keyholes, beating the Seeker of Darkness, and closing the door to darkness in Kingdom Hearts 1, the worlds aren't truly safe. Since any human can be turned into a Heartless and steal others' hearts, they could basically outbreak on any world. Apparently, the only way to truly save the worlds from the Heartless is to find and open the door to light. And Yen Sid also tells them about nobodies, and Organization 13, because they forgot that they already met and beat some of them in Castle Oblivion. The worlds are closed off, but Yen Sid reveals new pathways to travel between the worlds. After leaving the tower, Maleficent is reborn there when her raven carries her cloak to the fairy godmothers who witness her come back to life. Apparently in the Japanese-only book, it's implied that the organization set the raven free from its cage knowing this would happen. I'm not sure how Maleficent could come back to life here, but between her scene in Kingdom Hearts Union Cross and a bunch of details about her in the upcoming games, there's a lot of loopholes that could explain it, so I'm just not going to try and guess which one it actually is. Or if it really is just that the fairy godmother's memories brought her back to life, which was the original explanation. Back in Hollow Bastion Castle, Pete reunites with her, and they discover a door which leads to Pete's past. In the past, they find the Cornerstone of Light, an object that in the present protects Mickey's world from the darkness. Sora heads to Hollow Bastion, where the Final Fantasy characters have been helping rebuild the town around it. But they're worried about a huge horde of Heartless that's amassing nearby. Also, the surviving members of Organization 13 show up here to taunt Sora. As a reminder, they are Xemnas, Xigbar, Zaladin, Saïx, Axel, Demyx, and Luxord. They've been going around the worlds, turning people into Heartless, and creating lesser nobodies to build an army. After traveling through some of the worlds, and dealing with the organization and the trouble they've caused, Sora, Donald, and Goofy go to Disney Castle, the world that Mickey rules. Here, because Maleficent and Pete have been tampering with the Cornerstone of Light in the past, is under attack from the Heartless. Together with Queen Minnie and the Wizard Merlin, they discover a door to the past there, and head in to stop Pete and Maleficent's meddling. Sora locks the doors there so they can't be used in a way to attack the castle anymore. Meanwhile, Axel starts working against the organization again, with only the goal of bringing Roxas back to life by turning Sora into a Heartless again. He travels to Destiny Islands to try and kidnap Kairi to use as leverage, but Pluto shows up to save her, and they escape through a Corridor of Darkness portal to Twilight Town. There she meets the real versions of Hayner, Pence, and Olette, 3 kids who were Roxas' friends in his dreams, and who he saw while he was working for the organization. They're not that important to the plot, I'm just mentioning them here in case they pop up in Kingdom Hearts 3. Axel catches up to Kairi and captures her, but eventually she gets away from him and is captured by Saïx, who brings her back to the organization. Sora shows up in Twilight Town and learns from the kids that Kairi was there but was taken. Back in Hollow Bastion, a secret room in Ansem's study is found where his computer is. After messing with the computer to find out more information, the group gets sucked into the digital world, which is a world based off the movie Tron. Apparently Ansem created it by copying it from another world, and after gaining access to Ansem's files in the digital world, Sora and Co regroup with Mickey, who explains a picture of Ansem they find on the computer that doesn't look like the Ansem they know. So Sora finally learns that Xehanort is not the real Ansem, and that the Seeker of Darkness, who was calling himself Ansem, was actually Xehanort's Heartless this whole time, and that the leader of Organization 13 is Xehanort's nobody. At that point, Hollow Bastion gets attacked by both Maleficent and Organization 13. While everyone is dealing with a flood of Heartless and nobodies, Xemnas sneaks into the castle and accesses the computer, opening a secret passage into the basement, which leads to the Room of Repose. This is a room that Xehanort built back when he was a researcher. He uses it as like a kind of meditation chamber, where he goes to talk to Aqua's Keyblade armor, which he placed there after it was found alongside him in Terra's body when she saved them. This scene may not actually happen here, it may be a flashback, but it's really unclear. We don't know exactly what this room is for, but the design looks a lot like the Chamber of Waking where Ventus is sleeping. So the Chamber of Repose is likely built as an experiment to try and find that room. Back to the battle, Sora and team run into Demyx, who attacks, and they end up killing him. Axel appears to Sora and tells him that he's been doing exactly what Xemnas wants, killing tons of Heartless so that their hearts go up into the artificial Kingdom Hearts and finish it. Saïx appears and chases Axel away. Maleficent shows up, claiming that she's the one who will control Kingdom Hearts, and then battles against Saïx. Sora doesn't know what to do since he's surrounded by Heartless, but doesn't want to use the Keyblade to free their hearts like Organization 13 wants. Maleficent helps Sora so that the organization doesn't get their way, She ends up pulling them into the realm of darkness to escape, and there a cloaked figure, who we know is Riku but Sora doesn't know, gives him a way out of the realm of darkness, which I guess is a trick he learned from Diz. He also shows him a picture of the virtual Twilight Town, where Roxas is hanging out with Hayner, Pence, and Olette. Sora decides to keep traveling through the worlds looking for Riku and Kairi. In the castle from Beauty and the Beast, Sora and the Beast fight Zaladin and kill him. Back in Hollow Bastion, Squall discovers that the Tron computer Datascape has been creating Heartless and sending them out. That's where all the Heartless has been coming from. Sora goes back into the system and takes out the Master Control Program, and that stops the Heartless from flooding the world. They also find more data in there, and everyone seems to remember that the world's original name was Radiant Garden, so they change it back from Hollow Bastion. Sora and Co then head back to Twilight Town to investigate the manor they woke up in, since it's shown in the picture with Roxas. At the mansion, they meet Mickey and learn about the digital world version of Twilight Town, and through the digital world they find a portal to the realm of darkness, where they're attacked by a horde of Dusks. Axel appears to help them and tells them where Kairi is, but ends up dying in the process. He's basically given up on trying to get Roxas back and wants to help Sora now because he kind of likes Sora. Sora, Donald, and Goofy continue through the darkness path to Organization 13's base in the world that never was. Maleficent and Peach show up there as well, planning to take over the organization's base. Here, Sora faces Roxas inside his heart and sees some of Roxas's memories. Sora also learns to call on 2 Keyblades at once and fight with both. This is apparently only possible because Ventus's heart is in his, and there's some kind of 1 Keyblade at a time per heart rule in the Japanese lore book, so only Roxas and Sora can do this unless that's proven wrong at a future point. Using a corridor of darkness, Naminé helps Kairi escape from her cell in the organization's headquarters. Saix tries to catch them, but Riku shows up and chases him off. Remember, Riku still looks like the Seeker of Darkness. Kairi sees that he looks like Xehanort now, but realizes it's him. With the artificial Kingdom Hearts almost complete, Saix sends a batch of Heartless after Sora. Riku and Kairi show up to help, and Riku creates a Keyblade from his heart to lend to Kairi, who fights the Heartless alongside them. Climbing the base to Xemnas, Sora reunites with Kairi and Riku, and they kill Xigbar, Luxord, and Saix. Mickey also arrives and meets up with Diz, who finally reveals that he's actually the real Ansem. Together, they go to where Kingdom Hearts is forming above the castle and use a machine to pull the hearts out of the sky. The machine explodes as planned, killing Ansem but releasing all the hearts, which become heartless again. The explosion from the machine releases light, which also removes the darkness from Riku's heart and causes his appearance to go back to normal. This was apparently a side effect that Ansem planned on, feeling responsible for Riku's body change. While the team goes after Xemnas, Heartless start flooding the castle. Pete and Maleficent show up to hold them off so that Sora and Mickey can go after Xemnas. So they're kind of teaming up for a bit. Sora, Donald, Goofy, Mickey, Riku, and Kairi all chase Xemnas to the realm of darkness and beat him. Naminé opens up a portal to help them leave, and then she gives herself up and goes back into Kairi's heart. So she's pretty much gone now, she's just part of Kairi again. As everyone leaves, Sora and Riku are left behind when what remains of Xemnas attacks them. They kill him for good, but end up trapped on a dark beach that is the border between the Realm Between and the Realm of Darkness. Eventually, they find a message in a bottle that Kairi sent that connects them and opens a portal straight to Destiny Islands, where Sora and Riku are reunited with Kairi, Mickey, Donald, and Goofy. With the world safe from Xehanort's Heartless and Nobody forms, Sora, Riku, and Kairi stay on Destiny Islands while Mickey, Donald, and Goofy and Jiminy Cricket head back to Disney Castle. What they don't know is that when a Heartless and Nobody are destroyed, the heart and body that made them go back to the soul, and the original person is reborn at the place where they lost their heart. So the original Xehanort in Terra's body and the other members of Organization 13 are all reborn back in Radiant Garden. Xehanort and Bragg wake up first, and Xehanort steals Bragg's heart again, bringing the Nobody Xigbar back to life. He finds and pulls a fragment of his own heart into Xigbar, basically taking over his body as a copy of Xehanort, and he does the same thing with Issa. The original goal for Organization 13 was to use all of the members as vessels, to become different copies of Xehanort. But because some of them started to grow back new hearts, that didn't work out. So instead, Xehanort goes with this crazy plan, involving pulling different versions of Xehanort from throughout time, and using some vessels to take over bodies and create more copies of himself to get 13 Xehanorts. Think of it like Horcruxes, but they're all copies of Xehanort himself. After that, Dylan, Aeolus, Evan, Ienzo, and Lee wake up and wonder where Xehanort, Saix, and Bragg have gone. Stepping away from that, let's move into Kingdom Hearts ReCoded. Jiminy Cricket looks back over his journals and is still confused that the Chain of Memories one is nearly blank, but flipping through it he finds a new message at the end. Mickey has Chip and Dale analyze the journal and they find hidden information there, so they scan it into a computer, creating a datascape, like that Tron digital world. Unfortunately, the data is corrupted, so they create an avatar version of Sora in the computer who can clean it up. In the datascape, the virtual copy of Sora chases a figure that's wearing the organization's black cloak through digital versions of the world that were mentioned in the journal. As he fixes the corruption, new entries appear in the real world, however they aren't the original entries that Jiminy wrote, they're new cryptic ones. Eventually, the power of the datascape pulls Mickey, Donald, and Goofy into the digital world to help restore it. There, the black cloaked figure reveals himself as a digital copy of Riku, created by the journal as a way to preserve its original entries. When Mickey and co are sucked into the journal, Pete was sneaking around the castle and got sucked in as well. From here, he summons in Maleficent, and she realizes that she can use the datascape as a pathway to attack Mickey's castle like she did using the door to the past in the previous game. Maleficent manages to take over the datascape, keeping everyone trapped there and turning the digital Riku copy against them. The digital copy of Sora saves the corrupted Riku, who opens a portal back to the real world for them. Sora, Donald, Goofy, Maleficent, and Pete are all sent back to the real world. The virtual Sora cleans up all the corruption in the journal and resets it to its original state. After visiting the datascape, Maleficent recalls the legend of the Book of Prophecies, a book that records future events and has the power to create full worlds. This should be familiar to you if you watched part 1 of this series, so we'll see how that ties into the future games. Maleficent is determined to find the connection between the datascape and the Book of Prophecies, hoping to understand how this journal managed to have the data to create all of these worlds inside the datascape, and hopefully that will lead her to the Book of Prophecies somehow. Mickey still doesn't understand the cryptic messages that were in the journal, so he asks Sora to continue exploring it. Sora goes through the floors of Castle Oblivion. Reaching the end of the castle, the virtual Sora meets a virtual copy of Naminé, who explains that she set up the journal like this to leave him a message. While rebuilding the real Sora's memories, she found painful memories from other people in his heart, and that Sora wasn't ready to know them, but he'll need to at some point. So using her power, she stored a ton of memories in the journal, which is why even though it was empty, the data could still be turned into a datascape with all the worlds. A similar power that mixes tech with memories may have also been what the Master used to create the Book of Prophecies, so that might give us some insight into how that worked. The memories hidden deep in Sora belong to Ventus, as well as memories about Roxas, Axel, and Xion. Naminé also says that Ansem left some data inside Sora's heart and it'll help him in the future when he's ready for it. Mickey, having seen all this, knows he's got to get Sora to the point where he can recall those memories, and so he consults with Yen Sid, who's been searching for Ventus, Aqua, and Terra on his own. They decide to call Sora and Riku to take the Mark of Mastery exam, as a way to prepare Sora to bring out the memories, and to prepare them to save Ventus, Aqua, and Terra, and for the upcoming fight against all the Xehanorts. So, now we move into Dream Drop Distance. Sora and Riku show up to undertake the Mark of Mastery exam and become true Keyblade Masters. The test will be taken in the realm of sleep, where 7 worlds remain in slumber after being consumed by the darkness, but not fully coming back into existence like the rest of the worlds that were restored in Kingdom Hearts 1 for some reason. In order to get to these sleeping worlds, Yen Sid sends Sora and Riku back in time to when Destiny Islands was destroyed so they can use it as a pathway to enter the Dream Realm. As a reminder, this is also known as the Unchained Realm that we talked about way back in part 1 with Kingdom Hearts Chi and Union Cross, and yeah, this game gives a lot of insight into how that sleeping realm works, but it's all still pretty vague. Back in Destiny Island's past, Xehanort's Heartless is there waiting for this moment, and sets his latest plan in motion. Remember a couple videos ago when I said Xehanort time traveled into the past and told his younger self to go to Destiny's Island, to the point where Sora awakens as a Keyblade wielder so that he can be here to mess with stuff, and then sends his past self to go around time grabbing different versions of himself? Well, that all comes to play in this game and is finally revealed. So, when Destiny Island is destroyed, Sora and Riku go down with it. And because Xehanort was there from his scheming, he manages to influence things. Sora goes to the realm of sleep and can visit the dreams of the sleeping worlds, but Riku subconsciously realizes that Xehanort is messing with him and dives deep into Sora's dream state instead of going into the dreams of the sleeping worlds. So while Sora is exploring the sleeping worlds, he's technically sleeping, which means he's technically dreaming, which means Riku can dive into his dreams as opposed to the dreams of the sleeping world. So as long as Sora is sleeping, Riku is a dream eater for Sora. He gets Dream Eater powers, and yeah, we'll get to that later. In Traverse Town, Sora meets up with the group from Square's The World Ends With You, who are treated way better than any of the Final Fantasy characters ever were. Here Neku teaches him about Dream Eaters, There are monsters called nightmares who eat dreams, and spirits who eat nightmares. This is another connection to Kingdom Hearts Chi, where the Chitharis were dream eaters, and you had spirits there as well, who could turn into nightmares if they became evil. But yeah, Sora teams up with spirits to take out the nightmares in each world, and Riku also teams up with Dream Eaters to take out the nightmares in Sora's dreams. But at this point, Riku just believes he's in the realm of sleep separately from Sora. He doesn't know he's actually in Sora's dreams. He runs into a young Xehanort there who's surprised that Riku unknowingly made it into Sora's dreams to defend them. Back in the realm of light, Maleficent invades Disney Castle with Pete and kidnaps Minnie. She demands that Mickey hands over the datascape from ReCoded so she can use it to discover more about the Book of Prophecies. But at that point, Lee, that's the reborn Axel, appears out of nowhere and saves Minnie. Maleficent and Pete retreat, and Mickey and Lee go to Yen Sid. Lee tells everyone that Xehanort is messing with Sora through the Dream Realm. He also wants to be trained as a Keyblade wielder. Mickey knows that Sora will be pulled out of the Dream World by Xehanort at some point and guesses where that's going to be and heads over there. After finding the 7 keyholes, Sora makes it back to the real world, but instead of ending up back at Yen Sid's tower, he appears in the world that never was, where Bragg and the young Xehanort are waiting for him and put him into a deep sleep. He chases them deeper and deeper into his dreams until he's so deep into his dreams that he'll never be able to wake up. He's like in a coma, in a dream, in the realm of sleep. It's like some crazy Inception stuff. Riku, back in the real world as well now, searches the world that never was for Sora's sleeping body. He now knows that he's become a Dream Eater for Sora's dreams, and he still has those powers, which is how he knows Sora is still sleeping. In the organization's throne room, Riku finds Sora's body and is confronted by all the Xehanorts. He learns that Xehanort plans to put a fragment of his heart into Sora and turn him into a 13th copy of Xehanort because he only has 12 right now. Mickey shows up and fights the Xehanorts alongside Riku. Lee also shows up and saves Sora and messes up the organization's plans. But Lee's old friend Issa reveals himself as one of the Xehanort copies and joins the fight, as does Donald and Goofy. In the end, they hit some arbitrary time limit and all the Xehanorts disappear, having run out of time, I guess. Since they couldn't convert Sora and unite all 13 of them, the plan didn't work out this time, but old Xehanort says they'll reappear when the time is right and when the 7 light wielders are gathered, and the ensuing fight will reforge the X-Keyblade. Back in Yen Sid's tower, Riku dives into Sora and wakes him from his deep slumber. While in there, Riku learns that the data Ansem left in Sora's heart is all of his research, and will hopefully help Sora when he needs it. Then Yen Sid declares that Riku has passed the Mark of Mastery exam, but Sora's failed. The exam was designed to have them develop their power enough to take on the upcoming challenge, but only Riku managed to gain the new power required. Yen Sid says they still have to find Ventus, Aqua, and Terra to help them fight in the upcoming battle as the 7 parts of light versus the 13 parts of darkness. For the side of light, there's Mickey, Riku, Sora, Ventus, Aqua, and Terra. But there's also Lee or Kairi, who can now both wield Keyblades, so they could join them, so there's 8 possible candidates. We also don't know exactly who the 13 Dark Vessels are. Xehanort already has 12 of them, and the ones we know about are Young Xehanort, Old Xehanort, Xehanort's Heartless, who was the Seeker of Darkness, Xehanort's Nobody, who was Xemnas, Xigbar, who has a fragment of Xehanort in his heart, and Saïx, who also has the same thing done to him. And that's where we're at going into Kingdom Hearts 3. To summarize some of the big mysteries I hope will get answered in that game, we want to know what the Master of Masters' original plan was and how does it connect to Xehanort's plans. Who will be the 7 that fight for the light, and who are the 12 Xehanorts, and who will be the 13th. We also want to see if the big upcoming fight will reforge the X-Keyblade and lead to Kingdom Hearts, or is it just another failed plan. And we want to know what happened with the Dandelions between Union Cross and Birth by Sleep. Finally, we want to know what role the Book of Prophecy still has to play, and what was in the black box that Lushu had, and how is Maleficent going to factor into everything? Will she get the Book of Prophecies? And finally, how will they save Ventus, Aqua, and Terra? So I guess we'll see all of that this week. So that's it for my retrospective. Thanks for checking them all out if you did. Check back for a video I'll have up just before launch with the details about the Kingdom Hearts contest I'm going to be running to celebrate the release of Kingdom Hearts 3. And I'm going to get to more story retrospectives like this. Next, I think I'm going to do Dot Hack. So yeah, subscribe and stay tuned for that. I'll see you guys later. Bye.